good, Global Grinders? This is Chief Ferguson Bay from Off the Grind. And in this episode, we have special guest Desiree Chavis. All right. Desiree is the owner of Shooting Stars Shopette, a unique online boutique of men and women's fashion and home goods. She's the daughter of an Army veteran, right, and creates handmade home decor and apparel that is constantly in demand. So you'll get to meet Desiree right here. How you doing, Desiree?
Doing good. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh man, that's always a hard question. Where do we start? A little bit about myself. All right. Where am I from? I'm from the Army. That's what I like to tell people. I grew up overseas because of my father's military service. So we primarily stayed in Germany, Heidelberg, Germany, when it was still open. Okay. So that's where I grew up. K through 12 was all in Heidelberg, Germany. Spent college in North Carolina, go Tar Heels. And the most recent place I like to say I'm from is New York City, because that's where I've spent the majority of my time as an adult.
Oh, yeah? Just moved out there, trying different things?
There's so many things for you to try, you'll never get bored.
New York seemed like a busy town. So
It's fast-paced.
I did an audition out there. I used to play drums, and I stayed out one of my friend's house, and she was paying like $2,000 a month for like a bed.
I'm not surprised.
I was like, oh. I can't do it. But,
that's the main reason I can't go back. I need to save a little bit more of those coins.
Yeah, right. So what was it like growing up as a military child? Y'all move around a lot? Like it's hard to make friends?
So my experience was not that typical because I stayed overseas most of the time. I think I became really open-minded about a lot of things, but my community was always very transient. So even though we had the privilege really to stay in one place for a while, everybody else around me was constantly moving. Every 3 years, like a best friend is leaving, a new friend is coming, but then they're leaving in 3 years, maybe 4 years if there's an extension. Right. I think there's only one other friend I had that stayed in the same place who ended up becoming one of my closest friends from childhood. And we were in the same place for almost a decade. But for the most part, everything's always changing. So you have to be resilient. You have to be open-minded. Mm-hmm. There's no such thing as like shunning the new person because every single year is new people. So I think I would say I'm really grateful to have grown up within the military community. It provided me a lot of opportunities and a lot of ways of thinking that I wouldn't have got if I wasn't in that space.
Yeah, I get you. Appreciate it. So does growing up in the military inspire you to travel? Like you've been to Germany?
Absolutely. Even just growing up in a country that's not yours is already putting you in that mindset. There is no being stuck in where you're from or, having that mentality of not going, past the borders that Yeah. They just kind of throw you all over the place. At least that's how it feels when you're little.
Yeah, right.
So, and then my mother is actually Italian.
Oh, sweet.
So my father met her overseas on a tour in Italy. And just by virtue of being, bilingual, bicultural, I love to travel. That's actually one of the biggest inspirations for the business I ended up starting.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. So did your parents, did they ever encourage you to join the military or to branch off into different things?
It's funny. I don't think we ever had a conversation about it. We never really talked about, hey, is that something you're interested in? Do you want to do that? I don't know if they assumed that I would never go that route or because I was on a college track, they just didn't talk to me about it. But there was never any pressure to do one thing or the other. I think between my parents and me, it was always very much focused on school, do good in school, and then go do what you feel like you're going to be good at and what you feel like you'll be able to make a living with. College was very encouraged. But for the most part, we never really had that conversation. So funny enough, I feel like there's 3 types of military brats, right? There's the ones who are completely involved and then they enlist right after or potentially commission right after you finish school. Then there's those of us who marry into the military and just continue the life that way. And then there's those of us like me who just become complete civilians and peace out. But I have come back around to the military in the sense of After school, I've had the opportunity to work in the Foreign Service alongside our Marine detachments in the consulate overseas.
Okay.
And then coming back to the U.S., I actually worked for the Marine Corps on base. So my life has kind of come full circle back to the military.
Still there. You still there. Yeah. Have you always been passionate about apparel and fashion growing up?
I think I was always really creative. It usually was in the form of music. So I was definitely a little musician when I was younger. Played the clarinet, played the saxophone. Wanted to sing. I don't know how good that was. And I was a dancer. So that was always very prominent. But I remember being in my room sometimes in like elementary school, putting on my favorite album at the time when we still had CDs, busting the stereo loud, and just starting to draw like different designs. I don't think I can draw, but I'd be trying to picture like what would underwear look like if it looked like this, and what would this a raggedy corduroy skirt that I don't want anymore look like if I cut this and put a slit here. So I've definitely always been in that mindset, but not necessarily. I would never have considered myself a designer before.
All right. So what inspired you to start your business?
So many things. So we talked about New York, right? The pace of New York, things are always happening. People are always moving and shaking. And I just knew that going to my job every day wasn't it. You know, there's some people that I think are fortunate enough to find what they like to do every single day. I just haven't felt like that, waking up and going to an office every day. There's definitely been times where I like my work, don't get me wrong, and I'm good at my work, but it's not, at the end of the day, it's always for the benefit of somebody else or another organization. So the more I kind of started to think about that stuff and think about what type of creativity do I want to do outside of work, the more these ideas started to surface. Like, well, maybe you should have a travel blog because you like to travel. Maybe you should collect the things that you know, from the places you get to go that most people don't get to go, and let people connect with travel in the global community that way. And all these things just seem so disjointed. I couldn't settle on one. And it wasn't until I got back most recently last year from my tour overseas with the Foreign Service that I started to really think about that I can do this. More and more people around me have been opening businesses. I've met quite a few veterans, even within my time over here on base, that have started their own businesses. And so I'm looking around me and I'm like, if these people can do this, I think I can handle it. So I just started to put ideas on paper, figure out sources for some of the fashion that I do offer, some of the home goods, and then started to look at what other small businesses were offering and then figure out how I could either improve that thing or basically make it myself. And that's been an amazing like source of creativity for me. I think what really inspired me to get started is that the business basically became like a symbol of hope for me at a low time. I think for me to be able to have a greater purpose than just waking up and going to whatever job it is at the time definitely gave me something to hold on to.
Yeah, I like it. I appreciate it. So when you started your business, how did you get the word out about it?
Oh, that's a good question. I started the business right in time for us to get quarantined. So here I am, like, oh yeah, I got my LLC together. I'm going to make these moves. I'm going to go pop up as a vendor. I'm going to do all these big events. Everything gets shut down.
Yeah.
So I started March 2020. I became public. So I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes, gathering information, making the LLC.
Yeah.
Since last year, and then March of this year, I finally launched. And the biggest way that I could do it was social media. So I had my website up. I really started promoting on social media, mainly organically. So just telling people I had started something, posting content with a lot of tags and a lot of context, you know, for people to be able to find my stuff online who didn't already know me. And definitely trying to get everybody who I did talk to who did know that I was doing something to follow, to share. So online has been probably the biggest. Technology has been our biggest friend when it comes to how we have to move right now with coronavirus.
Yeah. You think technology definitely opened the doors for new business owners?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. What is I was about to say? You already talked about the coronavirus, so I was going to say, what are some channel challenges you faced running your business? So, yeah,
Yeah, no, that's a great question. There's a few of them. So for one, obviously everything got shut down. So for anybody that had an in-person business, but for me that was trying to launch and get in front of people and be able to, have people look at the product, feel it, see how it works. All of that was canceled
yeah,
this year. So that was definitely a challenge. Now that I'm finally able to get out a little bit more, definitely safely. So every time I do pop up, I've got hand sanitizer on the table. I'm wearing masks. I'm selling masks.
oh, okay.
I'm definitely taking those precautions. All my online orders are packaged in the same space to make sure there's no cross contamination or anything like that. So there's been some challenges as far as process goes. I think for starting out, I know USPS had a lot of issues. Mail wasn't running properly. So that challenged a lot of small business owners. I mean, even big businesses, right, that I was buying from had mail delays. That was a bit challenging. Technology, I would say, definitely got us through that. And then I think there was a little bit of that period of sensitivity for, people that did find themselves in a financial crisis because of the pandemic. So I have friends who've been laid off, people who've been fired or let go or furloughed.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I'm marketing to people that may be in a lesser financial state now. So how do I, do that, in a way that's still positive and that doesn't kind of become insensitive to their situation.
True, because it's be hard for them to support if they, they're furloughed and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that part. Because like we government, I'm Navy, but like we were hit by coronavirus, but it didn't really affect us financially because we continue to get paid and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the best things about being in the military right now. Like through any type of major situation, whether it's the government shutting down or the world shutting down because of a pandemic, you guys are set. So that's a good thing. Kudos.
Ooh, but yeah, it's business thing, but yeah. Yep. But I definitely like your designs. You were talking about the masks you have and stuff like that. I like that hustle element cap, the
Thank you.
rep cap with what is it, Velcro?
It is. And it's funny, I think the Army kind of inspired that design because the Army wears their rank on the front of their cover and you change it out with Velcro.
Yeah.
I'm a carnival girl, so I started this idea with taking, especially the influences I got from New York City, all the carnivals I've been to. That's what I got going on back here. I just started to make like flag paraphernalia out of it. I've never seen a hat with a flag on it that I could remove because me, for example, I'm not from the Caribbean, but I love Caribbean culture, music, food, the islands themselves, and I love going to Carnival. But I'm always trying to switch off the flag that I want to rep that day. Or if I'm going to Barbados for Carnival or Trinidad for Carnival, I want to be able to represent what I'm doing. So between the Army's inspiration and Carnival inspiration, that cap came to life. So you could I'm working on developing more flags now, but you can switch out, the Pan-African flag one day for the Jamaican flag, the Trini flag for the Barbadian flag. So it's a concept that's pretty cool because I haven't seen it anywhere else. So I'm really proud of that one.
I'm definitely going to get me one of those.
Hey, I'll be looking for your pictures.
We'll be up there. Also, I saw you had was it like a chain link mask? I'm like, man.
Yes, and it's the best thing that has happened to me in a while because I'm the person who keeps getting out of the car, gets to the door of an establishment,
right?
No mask around my face because somewhere on the floor of the car, and I'm like,
yeah, you gotta go run back.
Now what? I just let it hang right there, and I can still be cute and still be put together with my mask chain. It makes me happy.
Yeah. You mind if I show the pictures up there when I post them up? Yeah. I definitely show those, but those are some great. Where'd you get that? Well, I guess the inspiration for that was, you walk up to the store and you got to walk back to the car.
Yes. And what's funny? I remember seeing, because I've also developed these too. I remember always seeing my mom with some type of chain on her glasses, but it was like a lanyard type of thing. It was always made out of cloth or something. And I was like, I feel like I can make this look, a little jazzier.
Yeah.
And I'm a gold person. So far everything I've sourced has been gold. I found some gold plated stuff because Nobody wants to tarnish it, right? Gold-plated chains that I could attach to both masks and glasses. So I'm starting to offer both, and those are handmade. So that gives me a nice little zen moment to just focus on creating those.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things.
Yeah, it's great. It's funny how you can find like even if it's small, something a way to serve the client, like to make their
For
life.
sure.
Yeah, and
For sure. And it's so helpful because that's one of, I think that's why I'm in the place that I am with fashion. I wouldn't consider myself a designer, but I love finding things that are functional,
right,
beautiful, right? That make you feel good when you put it on and that serve a purpose and look good.
Yeah, definitely gonna give me one. So on your Instagram, and you've been talking about this, like about pop-ups. What are pop-ups?
Yeah, good question. So, as at least within my area, we're starting to be a little bit more lax about, the gatherings and being outside. There's still a mask order in place. But pop-ups are when you take your merchandise, set up a table or some type of space to display your things, and people can actually buy from you in person. So I don't have a storefront. I am an online business, but especially because I love to travel, one of my favorite things to do is to pop up at different events, whether it's a community market, a concert, a festival, whatever might be going on. Most of those things for this year have been canceled, but a lot of smaller community events are coming back around, starting to open up now. So being able to display and connect with people in person, I love that part of what I do, being able to connect with people, see what kind of effect your things have on them, get feedback directly from, your customers or your potential customers. I love that part of it.
Yeah. You think those helped out your business?
Absolutely. It gets me in front of people that I would have never otherwise intersected with.
Right. I see.
So that's really helpful. And I love that in-person aspect of it.
What are some of your business goals?
That's a great question. I would like to expand my product offerings. So, and that's been going pretty well. So I started with a little bit of home decor, then I added a little bit of fashion. Now I'm hand making, accessories and different things like that. So I would like to continue expanding on a few of those categories, expand the patches for those hats.
Oh yeah.
I'd like to start popping up at bigger events when it is safe, when things are, coming back together. After the pandemic, hopefully within our lifetime here soon. So getting in front of customers. I would like to grow my online presence, but not because I enjoy doing the online stuff. That definitely is one of those things that comes with being a small business owner or an entrepreneur. You have to be at least a little bit good at everything. And social media is not my favorite thing to do, but just because it's another thing that allows me to connect with my customers and my base. It is necessary, and I do it. So to be able to expand that so that people know they can always reach me there and find me there and send me feedback there, I'm always open to that. So I think just expanding my presence a little bit more and expanding the things I'm able to offer.
Okay. It's kind of odd that you say you don't feel like you're good at social media, because I see your pictures and stuff like that. You're out and about taking products and stuff. I'm like, man, she's taking great product photos.
Thank you. That's a good thing. If I look like I'm good at it, I'm doing something right.
So what resources are you reading or watching to help grow your business?
That's a great question. I'm always Googling things. So even from the beginning of getting my business started, when I did form the LLC, filing the paperwork, I Googled every step of the way. I have talked to small business lawyers, looked for pro bono resources for things like that, especially when you're starting out and you don't have, all of this money set aside for things like lawyers and accountants. I've tapped into my friends. A lot of my friends feel similarly. You might wake up and not be 100% satisfied, or maybe not even 80% satisfied with what you're doing at work every day. So I've taken friends that are doing, jobs that are useful for any business, like accounting. I have a friend in accounting who helps me with my books, helps me figure out how to manage my budgets, how to record things, talks to me about accounting software I could be using. These are all things I don't do in my daily life, so they are definitely teaching me. And I've actually been taking some of the classes offered through our small business center in my state, and every state has a small business association or administration office. Those resources are invaluable. They are, I would say that for the amount of resources they give and for little to almost no cost, it is really invaluable. I would definitely recommend that people look into the ones in their states and around their areas. There's a lot of help for that. And even for veterans, there's a lot of opportunities and resources on base to kind of help you get started within business. And there's all kinds of free resources on base, from personal financial management to, setting up like different business accounts and things like that that people could take advantage of. So that's been really helpful.
Oh, cool. Giving that knowledge. You're like, I think some people mentioned the SBA on these, so definitely, I haven't checked them out yet, but I definitely got to check them out. Yeah.
I would have never thought that was something to look into. I think maybe I'm thinking like, oh, it's just another government resource, whatever, it's going to be not that helpful, but they do bring in some really good speakers. So the people that teach the classes I've been to have not actually been part of the Small Business Administration. They will usually come speak or be hired or volunteer at the administration to teach people like us, and their knowledge is on point.
Yeah, on point. Definitely got to reach out. But if people are trying to reach you, where would they go?
Good question. I am everywhere, but you can especially find me on Instagram and Facebook. The handle is the same, at Shooting Stars with a Z, Shopette with 1 P. And if you send me a message, comment on anything, I'm happy to get feedback, and I'm always responsive.
Cool. And if you wanted to encourage people like who wanted to start a business, what would you say to them?
I would say go for it, and don't worry about making it perfect. Definitely get it started, and you can always work on it while it's in progress, while it's in motion.
All right.
Don't sit on your dreams.
Don't wait. Just keep waiting. But yeah,
because you'll never get started. Getting started is the hardest part. Once it's started, you could go anywhere.
Right. But I definitely appreciate you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Global Grinders, that was Desiree Chavis, the owner of an online boutique called Shooting Stars Shopette. All right, you can find her at shopshootingstars.com. Right below, I'll put that there. And on Instagram at Shooting Stars with a Z, Shopette. All right, she gave us a lot of good information on, her business, what inspired her to start a business, her life as a child growing up in the military, and, some of the hard times and how she got through those hard times starting an online business. So if you want to reach out to Desiree, go ahead, go to IG, Shooting Stars Shopette. Again, down below, I'll put it in the description, or support her by going to shopshootingstars.com. All right. This is Chief Ferguson Bay from Off Duty Grind, and I thank you guys for watching. Always like, comment, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.